Steven with Parts Doctor. In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the drive belt in the Samsung dryer. The tools needed are listed in the description below. Let's get started. If the belt is broken or loose, the dryer won't start or spin. The dryer's idler pulley is equipped with a switch that will detect loss of tension on the belt. If this happens, it will tell the dryer that the belt is either broken or loose. For this repair, unplug or disconnect power to the dryer. The first thing we're going to need is access to the back of the dryer to remove the two screws holding in the top cover so we can inspect the belt. Next, place your foot at the bottom of the dryer. Place your hands on the top and pull towards you until the top cover releases. This may require some force. The belt should be snug against the drum, not loose. If you spin the drum, the belt should rotate with it. Only rotate the drum clockwise. Spinning the drum the wrong direction may cause the belt to come loose from the motor or idler pulley. It is very easy to tell if your belt is completely broken. It'll either be laying inside the bottom of the dryer's frame, or it'll be very loose and can easily be removed from the drum. If the drive belt is loose on the drum but not broken, that means it has fallen off the drive motor and idler pulley. If this is the case with your dryer, continue watching as we'll cover the steps on how to reinstall the belt. Before removing or replacing an unbroken belt, inspect it by placing a tick mark on the belt as a starting point. Then, rotate the drum clockwise while closely inspecting each section of the belt for cracks or frays until you've reached the starting point. To uninstall the drive belt, start by removing these 4 screws. Next, gently lift up on the control panel to release it, then tilt forward, being careful as it's still connected by wires. Then, remove the 2 electrical connectors by depressing the locking tab, gently wiggling until it releases, and remove the wires from the retainers. Once the wires are removed, you can separate the control panel from the chassis. Next, remove these 2 Phillips screws to remove the door. Then, firmly grasp the door and lift up and out to remove. Now, remove these 4 screws. Next, remove these 2 Phillips screws beneath the door opening. Now, lift up on the panel to release it from these 2 retaining tabs, being careful as it's still connected to the door switch wire. Be careful as you'll be working around sharp edges. Disconnect the wire by wiggling and pulling until it releases. Then, lift up on the panel assembly to release it from the chassis. Now, remove the lint filter by grabbing and lifting up. Next, disconnect the moisture sensor wiring harness by depressing the locking tab and fish the drum light wire through the opening. Then, remove the 3 screws on the lint duct and pull out and down to remove. Now, remove the 4 screws on the front drum assembly. Then lift up on the left side Pivot out to release the locking tabs from the slots, and lift up on the right side to remove the assembly. Pull the bottom towards you, being careful as it's still connected by a wire. Then remove the wire from the retainer. Next, remove the screws on the upper frame plate. Then, fish the wiring harness through the opening. Now, remove the frame plate by pulling towards you and lifting up. After locating the idler pulley, carefully slide your arm in. Then, press the idler pulley to the left side of the dryer to release tension on the belt, and carefully slide the belt off the drive motor and idler pulley. Next, lift up on the front of the drum and slide the belt off. If you have a bad drive belt and you need to purchase a new one, you can check out our website, partsdoctor.com. We'll leave a link in the description below. You want to make sure you're searching with the model number from the tag on your dryer to make sure you get the correct part. To install the belt, lift up on the front of the drum, slide it over, and gently work the belt to the center of the drum. It is very important to make sure the belt is not twisted. Next, reach inside the dryer and place the belt over the drive motor and beneath the idler pulley. This may be tricky as you need to guide the belt in place by touch as it's difficult to see. With the belt back on the motor and idler pulley, it should rotate when you rotate the drum. Now, install the upper frame plate by aligning the tabs on the left and right side, inserting and pulling the main body to align until it seats back in place. Then, reinstall the 5 screws. Then, fish the wiring harness through the opening. And reinstall the harness into the retainer. Next, place the door switch wire back into the retainer. Insert the top of the front assembly and align the retaining tabs on the sides. You may need to raise the drum for the rollers to seat properly under the drum and allow the tabs to seat in place. Now, reinstall the 4 screws. Next, install the lint duct. Followed by the screws. Now, reconnect the moisture sensor wiring harness by aligning and pushing until it snaps in place, and rerun the drum light wire through the opening and retainer. Then, reinstall the lint filter. To install the front panel, start by aligning the slots on the panel with the tabs on the chassis. Then, tilt the panel up and reinstall the door switch wire by aligning and pushing until it seats back in place. Make sure the wires don't get pinched between the front panel and chassis. Then, push the panel until it seats back in place. Then, reinstall the 6 screws. With the hinge swung outward, We'll first need to start by aligning this screw with this opening and set the door in place. Then reinstall the 2 screws. To install the control panel, start by inserting the tabs on the panel into the openings on the chassis. Now, reconnect the 2 electrical connectors by aligning, pushing till they snap in place, and reinstall the wires into the retainers. Then, tilt the control panel back in place and reinstall the 4 screws. To reinstall the top cover, make sure the rear of it, which is noted by the gray pieces, is facing the rear of the dryer. Align the top cover guides to the opening in the top cover. Continue to push forward until it locks back in place. Next, reinstall the 2 screws. With everything put back together, plug the dryer in, test it out, make sure everything is working properly. So that's it for this video. If you learned something new, hit that like button, and if you enjoy fixing things, please consider subscribing.